Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Gaming Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and today I'm here to give you another action classic. Now, I don't do these too often because, been working a lot. And so I just kind of talk about the immediate things that come out and nerddom and, talk about The Mandalorian and stuff of that nature. But I really wanted to do another one because over Thanksgiving, I had when I was crashing at my dad's house, when you go out of town, you just have to crash at somebody's house, crashing at my dad's house, I ended up watching the Bond movies, the newest Bond movies, and it got my blood thinking on it because I rewatched them again, the Daniel Craig Bond movies, and, well, just to the first two. I didn't really get to watch the other ones, but I watched the first two, and, it was almost like I watched them again for the first time, even though I know I've seen these movies before, and it made me realize something. Casino Royale is an action classic. Now, this movie, to me, had a lot on its shoulders. Looking back now, you have to imagine how big of a deal. It's always a big deal. Who will be the next James Bond? Who will be the next 007? Who will be the next agent? This James Bond is one of the most iconic characters in all of film and all of fiction. I guess fiction and all of fiction. He's one of the most iconic pop characters of all time. He practically, the James Bond character practically revolutionized the spy genre. He is the spy hero. Every other spy genre hero is compared to James Bond. Shaken not stirred, the suits, the gadgets, the cars, the women. James Bond is an icon. And there have been many people to play them. R.I.P. Sean Connery, the original James Bond. There's been a lot of people to play him. And all of them brought their own thing to it. So when this movie was coming out, I was young when this movie was coming out, but even at the time, I could feel, looking back at it, like I said, I never looked at it because I was so young, so I couldn't really get into it. But looking at it now, I'm like, you know what? Compared to those other Bonds, this Bond was a complete departure from every other Bond. And looking back, because I remember a lot of people complaining about Casino Royale and Daniel Craig's James Bond. Looking back, I see why. I loved it. Personally, I think Casino Royale is a fantastic spy thriller movie. It is in the same vein. It is right up there with some of the Mission Impossible movies. The action is great. Well shot. Daniel Craig is a very interesting character. He plays James Bond different than everyone else, but all the other people who play James Bond, it was always a bit of silliness to it. It was always a bit of, okay, that's a bit over the top, or a bit of, you always got the feeling that James Bond enjoyed doing what he was doing, that he enjoyed the lifestyle, the girls, the gadgets, and all that stuff. Not that he couldn't get serious when the moment arose, but he was silly, he enjoyed it, he enjoyed messing with M, all that stuff. This version of James Bond is, I don't want to get into it because everyone has their Bond. Everyone has their Batman, everyone has their Spider-Man, everyone has their Bond. And I don't have that big of attachment to James Bond to say which one is mine or not. But I will say Daniel Craig's James Bond is, at least from Casino Royale, because that's the one I watched, that's the one I rewatched, I really dig because his Bond is pretty much this is what, if James Bond really existed, that's what he would be like. And, I didn't want to say that because it's still a bit silly, but there aren't as many, there's not any over-the-top gadgets, there's not any insane, there's not any insane, insane cars. Some of the cars have things in them, but there's no insane cars. His James Bond is just raw. And the thing about his James Bond that I really dig is that, like I said, his James Bond is what James Bond really would be. Seeing all that bloodshed, being through all the stuff he's gone through, killing people, you couldn't, it would be hard to do that and not be cold. And his James Bond is cold. His James Bond is manipulative. His James Bond is arrogant. He's always trying to push. His James Bond has an itchy trigger finger and is just itching to shoot someone. His James Bond. And the thing about his James Bond that they play up is he's a lot like Batman, where he's cold on the outside, but underneath all that cold, that cold walls that he puts up so that he can do the things that he does without, it getting to him. He is a man who cares. He cares about him. He cares about, later in the movie, Eva Green shows up in this movie. He cares about her. He He doesn't want innocent people to get hurt, like deep down, but he can't let it show. He does not only does he not want to let it show, he can't let it show because he can't let it get to him. Because throughout the course of Casino Royale, it's kind of dropped multiple times, like, does killing people get to you? How does it feel? I mean, the first scene you see him in, the guy, like, he's talking to some dude who's apparently a traitor, and the guy's like talking about how he just became a 00 that day, 007 that day, and he's just like, you know, killing people. Like they're having, and like one of the big points of the conversation they were having at the top of the movie was about killing people and about how, you know, it's easier the second time, and about how when he killed this first man, it really, you know, it took a moment for him, and like to just get the feeling he's just trying to like. He's constantly internally battling, like not letting the deaths get to him. At a certain point in the movie, he romances one girl, and I love that about this James Bond. He uses sex as a weapon, which is kind of fucked up, which is kind of sad, but he uses sex as a weapon because something that happened was, you know, in the other James Bond, he had these girls, you know, the Bond girls who would be with him and whatnot. But this version of James Bond is a bit different in terms of the fact that not only does he he uses his own sex appeal as a weapon to manipulate people, you know, especially other females, which they kind of talk about. They kind of come at him about that. Like, they kind of just, you know, multiple women just kind of come out and just at him and just like, especially Eva Green's character, like, you don't respect women and all this other stuff. Like, oh, you use women, you see women as tools to be used and whatnot. But then like, because at a certain point he uses his sex appeal to get some information out of one of the bad guys' girls. And it was sad because near the tail end of it, like literally because the girl ends up dying in the movie, spoiler alert for a movie came out in 2016, the girl he was flirting with ended up dying, and he does these thing where he's not showing his emotions, but you know he's feeling them because he's staring at her body, and M's like, are you okay? You know, and he's just like, no, I'm good. Like, but you know he's feeling shit. That's why I say he does, like, this version of James Bond is more in line with Batman, where he's cold, but you know he's not. You know, deep inside, underneath those walls, he's feeling all kinds of emotions, and he's trying not to let them loose. But this movie is well done, well directed, has an amazing chase action sequence at the beginning, just him running after a guy, and it was a great. I was tired watching it, but one of the things too is it really changed a lot with James Bond. James Bond was always known to be played by handsome men and have some type of appeal. But Daniel Craig kind of took it to another level because the iconic him walking out of the beach, you know, with his shirt off, like, because you believe, because he was jacked, dude. He is in fantastic shape. He is ripped. He is in fantastic shape. So you believe he can do all those things. As much as I love some of the other Bond movies, looking back at it, you never believed they could do those things. Like when, like, soon as they were take their shirts off, they were just skinny dudes. Then Daniel Craig is not that. He is in fantastic shape. You believe he can do all the things he's doing. The action sequences are a lot more visceral and in your face. Eva Green and him have amazing chemistry together. You really love their will they won't they relationship, and you're really sad near the end, spoiler alert, when she dies. It was really sad to see her die. And you know, and like I said, there's some great action sequences, some great heart-pounding situations. Daniel Craig plays that character so smooth and so smug, and you know, but so badass at the same time, because you know when shit goes down, he's gonna win and he's gonna cut it off. And then, like, I love that way that, like I said, I love the way they do it. And this is a PG-13 movie. I didn't know that. It kind of almost caught me off guard because there's so many sexual explicit things and there's so much violence that it took me a minute to realize while I'm watching the movie that there are no bloodshed, and that when they do the sexually explicit things, it never actually gets to the point of having sex, and if it does, you only see the aftermath of them laying beside each other, which is what I've been saying for a while on my channel, is not everything has to be rated R. These James Bond movies kind of prove it. I mean, they literally have sex sequences and people getting blown up, destroyed, and all kinds of things. And you don't have to see it. You don't have to see it. And I love the relationship between him and M. M, like, because this version of Bond, which is in line with all the other versions of Bond, they're go-getters. But his version is really a go-getter. Like, M will be like, look, look, Bond, time out, calm down, let it go. And he'd be like, Yeah, I'll let it go. Jump out the fucking window and go chase that. Like, that's the kind of guy this Bond is. He's a go-getter. Sometimes he can come off a little heartless, but you know underneath. But you know, like I said, I like that. I like the Bond, like, because if James Bond really was doing all that shit, there's no way he could do it with a smile, a wink, and just having fun. It's like, man, that shit would weigh on him. And there's never a scene, especially in the other movies. I'm not going to review those, but especially in the other movies, there's never a scene where you don't feel like the weight is on him, where he's not, well, Daniel Craig is not, when he's acting, there's always this, it's almost like, and I can't really describe it, there's almost this invisible weight on his shoulders of the heaviness of all the lives he's taken. And it's like, and he's pushed it down and put those walls up. It doesn't let anyone emotionally get to him. And he's doing all that shit. But he's a tough son of a bitch. There was a torture scene. Mads Mikkelsen's in this too as the villain, and he's a pretty good villain. There's a torture scene in this movie, Casino Royale, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. We're fucking, now, Wince, because I did. Mads Mikkelsen, I didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Mads cut a hole underneath the seat, took like this big ass rope, and like stripped him down naked. Don't worry, you don't see anything, but you know, he's naked. And just starts whamming him underneath the seat in the balls. I'm not lying. Just starts wham! And this dude, hardcore dude, is like, it's basically looking at him like, oh, fuck you. I'm like, this dude's crazy. Like I said, I loved Casino Royale. I really did. I didn't remember. It's like I had just seen it for the first time ever. But I dug it. It's slick. It's well written. Great chemistry, great action. Daniel Craig was an amazing James Bond, brought an entirely different vibe to it. But seeing it again made me go, okay, if you're a super fan of those old James Bond, I can see why maybe you didn't like this one. Comment below, let me know. I would give this movie a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I really did. Only reason I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 is because it's not quite Skyfall. But still, I enjoyed the hell out of this. Casino Royale. Action classic. 2006's Casino Royale. What did you think of 2006 Casino Royale? Was it your favorite of the Daniel Craig movies? Who is your favorite Bond? And comment below. If you love the old James Bond movies, did you not like the Daniel Craig ones? Because I'm curious about that. Because I just took them as individual things and just didn't really compare them to each other. But I really dig the vibe of this one. I really do. Thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show again. Please be a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.